Wake up, Rip City. Your Portland Trailblazers have defeated the previously undefeated Oklahoma City Thunder. Last night, the Blazers win 121-119. They overcome a 22-point deficit in the first half. I told Gliss the other day, I said, Gliss, we're hopping on a pod if the Blazers win this game. First half, didn't look at it. Didn't look like it. I was like, oh man, maybe I'll have an easy morning, Thursday morning. Blazers come back, complete the victory. They win again, 121-119. They're led by Denny Advia, almost at a triple-double, Gliss. Amazing game from the Blazers. So exciting to watch. So much fun. This is the Wake Up Rip City podcast. I'm the host, Alex Moore. Alongside me, my co-host, Jay Gliss. Jay Gliss, how are you feeling this morning?
I mean, championship or bust, right?
Come on.
No, I'm just kidding. No, that was an awesome game. It was, like you said, it was when they got down early. I think it was like 9-1 or something like that, and I was like, oh boy, like. Felt like it was going to get out of hand very quickly, which it did. But credit to them for just being resilient and sticking with it and just kind of chipping away at it. And that's all you got to do against those good teams. You just got to hang in there and, take it possession by possession at the end. And it was a fun win for sure. Probably the signature win of the season for sure.
Yeah, we've had a couple of signature wins on the season already, which has been exciting for the Blazers coming into this after this game. Now they are 5-3. The Thunder drop to 8-1. And Gliss, I want to bring you inside my day yesterday a little bit. So I know the Blazers have the 7 p.m. tip against the Thunder. I get invited out to dinner reservation at 6:30 last night. And I'm like, oh man, the Blazers play at 7. I'm a podcaster now. Like, I shouldn't really be missing the game. But we're just starting. Maybe once we hit it big, maybe then I'll be able to say no to dinner plans for a Blazers game. But I decided to be social, and I go to dinner last night. The game tips. I'm ordering food, getting ready to eat, all this stuff, and I just take out my phone and I check the score. And I'm like, oh, God, I think it was the end of the first quarter, and they're down by 20. And I was like, part of me was like, okay, I kind of expected this, but I hadn't seen anything. Like, I hadn't seen any of the action or anything. I didn't know how it looked. So just seeing the score, it doesn't tell the whole story. But so I missed the whole first half, Gliss. I didn't see any of it. But I see the score, they're down 20. But I have that hope. I don't know. I can't not let it go. At first I was like, oh, just forget about it. It's done. The game's over. Like whatever, just let it be. But then 10 minutes later I check the score again. I'm like, oh, they got down to 15. Then I check it again. Oh, down to 5. And then halftime and it's either down 8. I was like, okay, they're pulling me back in. Make it home after dinner. Catch the whole second half. Second half was obviously awesome. Still, that third quarter, I was like, oh, they weren't quite getting past that, that 10-point benchmark. It kept going up to 10, down to 7, up to 10, 12, down to 6, and then, back and forth. But finally they overcome it. And man, I was amped. I was excited. I was yelling. I was screaming, it's great to see because we've talked so much about the offensive struggles in the fourth quarter, but it's so exciting to see them kind of get into their flow and, they weren't forcing shots. Drew Holiday's such a calming presence in that fourth quarter. I think Shaedon had some great moments in that fourth quarter, offensively and defensively. And then obviously Denny was just taking over, getting to the rack whenever he wanted. It was so nice to see that from him too, because ultimately they need someone who's just going to get the ball in their hands in the fourth quarter, let the clock run a little bit, and then take it to the rack. So, yeah, so exciting game to see from that perspective. But, yeah, Gliss, I have to admit, I did not watch the first half. So if you want to tell me about it, you can.
Well, I listened to most of the first half. So
okay. Oh, boy, we're bad.
Yeah, no, I started watching the game.
Yeah.
But full disclosure, I have 4 kids, and one of them does club swimming 6 nights a week, so it was my night to drive him back and forth. Typically on those nights, I throw it on the radio. So I was listening to most of that first half. I watched probably about half of the first quarter, and I was still not really buying in until they made a little run in that second half. The second quarter, where it was like, okay, like if they can get it down, single digits, and they're kind of within striking range, they're going to have to come out, kind of playing with a different intensity in the second half, and they might have a shot. Especially, I think one big thing to, kind of take away is that the Thunder were on a back-to-back, which we talked about last time we recorded.
Yep.
And I think there was moments where you could see that in the shooting and stuff like that. But, man, that team is just
stacked.
Like I said, that first couple minutes, and they're not – I'm going to say this too. Like, I don't even think they're that fun to watch. Like, they're kind of like the opposite. They're kind of like the opposite of the Blazers. Like, they're so good, and it kind of – you think about those Warriors teams, which I hated, but they were still, like, electrifying. They were so fun to watch, the movement, and just at any moment, like Klay Thompson or Steph would just go off. They were so entertaining. And this team is just like, and I was thinking back to when they won the championship. That might have been the most boring championship the NBA has ever seen. It was like when it was over, they're just kind of like, all right, high five, we did it. So they're not a very fun team to watch, but man, they're good. They just do everything. They almost play like a really well disciplined, like elite college team. Like that's the kind of feel that I get from that team. But yeah, credit to the Blazers for hanging in there, and that second half was so much fun to watch. I do have a wake up on the wrong side of the bed thing for sure this morning.
Let's wait.
Yeah, I'll wait. I'm not going to get into it, but I definitely have one.
We're waking up on the right side of the bed still for a while.
I know, but I can't wait to get to it because
okay. All right.
I've been itching since last night.
Gliss, do you want to drop your number in the chat so anyone from Oklahoma City can hate call you after listening to this podcast for saying that was the most boring championship?
Oh my gosh,
I went to 7 games with the Pacers.
I know. It's just like the feel of the team. I feel like they're so business-like that it's just like as a casual or, just kind of NBA fan that is just watching the NBA just to watch that when your team is not involved. I'm just like, man, these guys, like, they're so good, but they're not really that fun to root for.
Yeah, like if you're going, like a lot of people say their League Pass team, like the team, if you have NBA League Pass, what team are you watching? And like of the elite teams in the NBA, the Thunder are not high on the team on the teams that I would want to watch. And you know what? I really respect SGA, and he's
for sure.
MVP, incredible, gets to his spots, but this elbow thing. And just the way he plays is just like, I think I do agree with you on that. It's just not the most exciting thing to watch. I mean, but damn, that dude can ball. I mean, insane. And I think he's something that we want to talk about. He scores 35 last night, but he's the only Thunder starter who shot under 50%. And if you're going to pick one of them to shoot under 50%, you'd want it to be him. But I mean, incredible to watch. He goes to the free throw line 13 times, hits 12 of them last night. Denny kind of beat him though in that free throw duel, if you will. Denny goes to the free throw line 16 times last night, hits 15 of them. Of course, Denny had a stretch when he went, I think 0 for 10 in the I think he had his first field goal in the third quarter, so something crazy like that. But of course, he affects the game in so many different ways. I mean, almost has a triple-double. I think just 1 assist shy against the Thunder, and of course was great down the stretch. So, Gliss, before I know, you teased it. You have a wake up on the wrong side of the bed, but wake up on the right side of the bed. I guess we've been talking about a lot of positives, but do you have one specific thing, the wake up on the right side of the bed from this Thunder game?
Yeah, to me, it's Drew Holiday. We talked about him, last week, I think, but man, he just, he just had, as you kind of said in the opening, just such a calming presence. I think his presence is invaluable on this team. Like, and you could say the same thing for Dame over on the bench. Obviously, he's not going to be on the court this season, but having a guy like that has that championship pedigree, the way he plays, the pace he plays at, the way he sees things, just in moments where they kind of need that, I feel like he has just been unbelievable to watch. And he hit some really big threes, in particular in the first half when they were kind of treading water and it felt like the game was getting away from them. It felt like he was hitting a lot of big shots in those moments where it was kind of teetering whether, which way it was going to go.
Yeah.
So for me, it's by far Drew Holiday. I mean, Denny was unbelievable last night. By far, he looked like the best player on the court, besides SGA. But Drew Holiday, I can't say enough about him and how much. And not only that, late in the game, and we saw this in a previous game, 3-point game where it comes down to possessions and they're kind of playing the foul game. I mean, he's just money. Like, it's there was almost no question. Yeah, like get the ball in his hands and you got two, you're going to put 2 more points up on the board.
I love that action that they run for him. They've run it in multiple games now too to get him the ball late, where he's alone on the Blazers side of the court where they're shooting, and they'll have like Jeremy Grant or something like down there like run kind of a pick for him, but then ultimately curl off, and then Drew's got someone one-on-one, and then he pins them in a post up, and they just throw the ball right into him. It's great to see because it's just like. I mean, those moments, getting the ball in like that can be so tense. And, of course, you want to get it to the right person to shoot those free throws. And Drew has been absolutely money in the clutch on those. And, I mean, it's just the confidence level. It's even just as a fan, I'm just like, okay, thank God Drew Holiday's got the ball. The Blazers are going to hit these. They're going to go up 3. And, so it's just nice to see that. Man, that last possession that the Thunder had was so hectic. Blazers obviously should have fouled when coming off the missed 3. Thunder get fouled shooting what I thought was a 3. Turns out it was a 2, so it ends up working out okay. But, man, that last possession was hectic. But I completely agree with you, Gliss, on Drew Holiday. He finishes last night with 22 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, and he shoots 6 for 10 from 3. Absolutely right. And, Gliss, one thing, too, that I've been thinking about on Drew Holiday, I've been watching the Blazers, since I was pretty young. Definitely watching intensely since maybe 2006 or so. I don't know that they've ever had a player like him since I've been watching. And if I go back before my time, I think I would compare his attitude, the way he plays, that calming presence to like a Scottie Pippen. Maybe would be more similar in that style when Scottie Pippen joined the Blazers. But yeah, I've never seen, as far as I can think, and maybe Gliss, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Blazers have had a presence like him on the team since I've been watching for like 20 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say probably the closest thing I can think of is like Andre Miller.
Yeah.
He kind of had a little bit of that just like veteran savviness, but
Drew's on another level.
Drew's on another level. Yeah, like I said, everything about him is just like so cool, calm, and collective. Like it just never feels like he's gonna make the wrong. And granted, I mean, he's human. He does make bad decisions at times or take shots.
Let's not talk about the Lakers game.
Yeah. I mean, every player is going to have their moments, but yeah, for a guy, I just feel like he's always been kind of like that, right on the edge of being an all-star type player for so many years, and kind of just like an elite point guard, but maybe not like the superstar point guard. But man, like getting to watch him play every night with a young team, I'm just excited. Like I'm just excited to keep watching him play with this young team, because I think they're gonna, they've kind of taken baby steps over the last couple of years. coming into their own with all these young guys, and to have that guy on this team to kind of guide them in those moments. And we talked about the free throws just a minute ago. I mean, that kind of stuff is crucial too. Like if they want to be a playoff team or be a play-in team, there's going to be a lot of games in an NBA season that come down to, possessions. So having a guy like that you can trust to go down, to go out and hit free throws and tight moments and just have the ball in his hands. It's just going to be a lot of fun to watch. And it's been, awesome the first couple weeks of the season.
We love Drew Holiday. We've talked about it on previous episodes, and we will continue to talk about it. He's been a fantastic addition to this Portland Trail Blazers team. All right, Gliss, I've got to wake up on the right side of the bed. I think you probably know where I'm going, but Duop Reith comes into this game and hits 3 threes in the first half, and then a ridiculous 3 in the second half. Just guy on him and just has to put it up, end of a shot clock, little fade away. Then he gives the Jordan shrug afterwards. I mean, wow, for Duop Reith to come into this game and to make that kind of difference. We've seen him do this. It's just like when he shoots from 3, he is automatic. But it's such a boost for the team. Like if you're doing, that's your thing. You do it well to come in and just hit those shots. Of course, when the Blazers needed it, I think he led the team in plus minus last night too, which is so crucial in a game when you come down 22 to make that big of a difference. And that means that he's, also holding his own on the defensive side of the ball. But you saw the excitement for the Blazers for him when he came in the game and made the difference. I don't know if you've seen the locker room video after the game. They're pouring water all over him, and everyone's so excited. I saw he got a post-game presser even after hitting all these shots. He finishes with 12 points, 4 threes, was a huge difference maker, and definitely helped in the comeback last night.
Yeah, man. He had that other game where he hit, what was it, like 4 threes or something like that. But yeah, he's been money. And especially a guy with that much length that can kind of stretch the floor and step up and hit those shots. You're right that the one in the second half was ridiculous. I think it was the shot clock was, I think, wasn't that off a jump ball or the ball went out of bounds or something like that?
Yeah, it was kind of a broken play.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been fun to watch. And he just, to me, kind of highlights too, just that this team has a lot of depth and they have a lot of interchangeable parts. And we talked about how much they're going to miss Matisse and Blake Wesley, but I like the fact that they're able to plug guys in and guys can come in and kind of fill those roles when needed. And it feels like they just have a lot of depth to sustain when they do have injuries. And it might not click the same way. We might not see, 5 steals like we do from Matisse or something like that, or, the way that Blake Wesley gets up in guys' faces. But he just kind of highlights that this team is really deep and they have a lot of length, a lot of youth, and a lot of players that are interchangeable and just kind of bring that same intensity in the style that they want to play.
Absolutely. And, we talked about this on our last episode that this is a Thunder team that could be aspiring for 70 wins. I mean, we're like looking at the success they've had last season, coming into this year, and how deep that team is. And they've just even added more names like AJ Mitchell, who's hitting those shots down the stretch. It's like, God, this team is so deep, and they're sitting they had 3 starters out of this game, or at least 3 starter caliber players. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and Alex Caruso missing this game last night. And, I've seen like, oh, the Thunder had 3 stars. Well, the Blazers are missing players too. I mean, maybe they're not of the caliber as the Thunder missing players, but the Blazers are missing players too. So I
don't want to hear it.
That's how it goes. Yeah, it's just lame.
That's sports.
Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, the Thunder were undefeated coming into last night. They are not undefeated anymore, regardless of who was playing in this game. So, Gliss, you teased it earlier. Honestly, I I couldn't even think of a wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I was so happy. So you're gonna bring me down now, but Gliss, you woke up on the wrong side of this bed, wrong side of the bed this morning. For what reason?
Okay, and this isn't. Let's be clear. There was an amazing Blazers win. This isn't on a knock on the Blazers.
Yeah.
I thought the officiating in that fourth quarter was ridiculous at times.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be like a homer, like this,
Here we go.
I'm trying I'm trying to say objectively, if you're watching this game as an NBA fan that's not a fan of the Blazers or the Thunder, the NBA has a perception problem that, star players and, more elite teams get preferential treatment. And if you were going to make a case for that, I feel like that fourth quarter would be a perfect case study, because in particular, that last call on Tumani where they did call it with time expiring, I don't know that there's many other teams that are going to get that call with the game on the line, time expiring. He did move slightly into him, like he kind of rotated, but for the most part, he stayed in the spot that he was already in. His hands were straight up vertical. And who was it that took that shot? I can't.
It was
even
AJ
remember.
Mitchell. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And he kicked his legs out. I mean, that's the kind of thing that they started to try to put an emphasis on a couple years ago, because they realized, it's James Harden is one guy that comes to mind that, was doing that quite a bit, kind of doing that leg kick to try to, trying to force the official into calling a foul. So to me, with the game on the line, you don't call that. And I thought it was ridiculous that they made that call. And there were several other times in that fourth quarter where I was just shaking my head like, what are they doing here? It's almost like they are just trying to make sure that Oklahoma City has every opportunity to win this game. And again, I'm trying not to I was trying to watch it in the fourth quarter thinking like, okay, I don't want to blame it on the officials. I don't like when people blame things on the officials, because you still have to go play the game and you still have to execute. You can't change what the officiating is, but looking at it, taking a step back and looking at it objectively, when that game was over, I was still like, man, that officiating was just like, I just wasn't feeling it. It felt like anything that was ticky-tack or questionable, they were going to call when the Blazers were on defense. And it definitely was not going the same way for the Blazers. And I think it's just a bad look for the NBA when you have this federal case out there, and there's always been a perception from fans within the NBA and fans that aren't, NBA fans, just sports fans in general. There's always been this negative perception out there. And I just think when you see a team that's that good and a player that's that good getting the benefit of the doubt so consistently, I just think it's a bad look. And it really irritated me. It didn't matter in the end. Like I said, the officiating isn't everything in a game. It doesn't necessarily, change who wins the game one way or the other, because you still have to go out and make plays and execute. But it just it kind of irked me, and I was not a fan of the officiating, to say the least.
Gliss on his soapbox this morning. All right, I'll push back a little bit, Gliss, and just to make sure that we are correct here, it was Isaiah Joe who took the three that was fouled by Tumani Kamara. Ends up being his foot is on the line. It's a 2. AJ Mitchell had that one that he got called for a foul where he kind of like he put up that unnatural shooting motion where you kind of shoot it and fall back. And then that got called for a foul, so he got 2 free throws late. That wasn't quite at the end of the game, but I do remember that being a call where I think the Rose Garden, the Moda Center crowd started saying, "Ref, you suck." If I'm quoting them correctly there.
Which also I'm not a fan of that.
I'll push back
that chant.
I'll push back a little bit, Gliss. The Thunder shot less free throws than the Blazers in this game. That is the first kind of thing that I would say. Now it was by one, so I mean I think the Thunder shot 30 or the Blazers shot 32 free throws. The Thunder shot 31, and let me just double check that. So that is kind of the first thing I'll say. Now, does that mean that the officiating was great? I think probably both teams would say that the officiating wasn't very good. And yeah, the Thunder shot 31 free throws, Blazers shot 32. I thought some of those calls at the end were a little bit questionable. I did think that Tumani probably did foul him on that shot. He definitely got underneath him, and the NBA has put a lot of emphasis over the last couple years of you can't get underneath the shooter. But I think also he had a little bit of an unnatural shooting motion, sometimes, and we saw this a couple times in the game where the shooters were kicking out their legs too. But does the NBA care if the Thunder win games? That's where I'm just like, you have to look at the motivation. Like, do you think they're like telling the refs that the Thunder need to win this game in Portland on a early November night? Like, I don't think that the Thunder necessarily get the benefit of calls that much. And yeah, they're the champions and they have a MVP and a star, and Shea is really well known for his foul baiting. Watching him though, I was like, a lot of the calls he was getting, I was like, yeah, those were fouls. I don't think it was that bad. Now, anytime, this is where I will agree with you. There were 60 plus free throws in this game. It's just ridiculous. It's not a good product. I mean, from both sides, these teams should not be shooting that many free throws. And they should let them play a little bit more, I think, and not put so much emphasis on fouls and free throw shooting. But a player like Denny Advia really benefits from going to the foul line because he's so aggressive getting to the rim. And so, so I don't know. I see both sides of it in that situation. I was frustrated at the end of the game at all the fouls that were being called. But upon looking at replays and stuff like that, I didn't think they were that out of the realm of being the right call. And I think probably not that the 2-minute report will do anything. I don't know what the 2-minute report will say, but I don't know if the 2-minute report's going to be like, oh yeah, that was obviously not a foul. So sorry, Gliss.
That's fine. We can agree to disagree. And yeah, I don't think the NBA will probably address that call. And yes, I do believe that SGA, I mean, I think that's a big part of his game, and Denny as well. And I do think that's a skill. I mean, like, getting to the line, that is, that's a thing in the NBA. When James Harden was an elite player, which he's definitely not now, but, that was a major part of his game. And Damian Lillard used to get to the line a lot. Brandon Roy used to get to the line a lot. I think superstar players are like, that is a major aspect of being a superstar player. To be able to have that ability to get to the line. I just felt, and it's not so much about the number of fouls, it was more like the situations that I wasn't a fan of. And I'm going to disagree on that last one. I felt like Tumani, he was under him a little bit. He slightly rotated. And even when they showed that like overhead shot, I just felt like he was in position. He had his hands vertical. And it was more so the offensive player that kind of dictated the foul being called by the way that he came down on the play. And it just didn't look like a natural shooting motion at all. I mean, he kind of chucked the ball up and then, collapsed his legs into Tumani. And I'm just like, with 0.5 seconds left to call that, no, like just – Either he makes the shot or he doesn't make the shot. I just wasn't a fan of it.
And I think you're right about that. I think most of the time when refs swallow their whistles at the end of the game, that's usually kind of the kind of what happens towards the end of the game in these clutch moments. Usually the refs let the player settle in. That foul I found often is not called. So yeah, I think I will agree with you for the most part on that one. But, and I think if that's the one negative to point out, the Blazers still come away with the victory. Very excited. Woke up this morning happy that they beat the undefeated Thunder. a crazy 3 games of emotions. They come from beating Denver to losing to the Lakers B squad to now beating the Thunder. It's just like, I guess this is what this season's going to be like, is full of up and downs. So excited to keep talking about it with you, Gliss. Anything else to add before we hop off about the Blazers win over the Oklahoma City Thunder?
No, I just say let's enjoy this, because this team, we kind of anticipated, could this be the year that we're hoping it's going to be? And there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
But it does feel like the magic is back. Like, it feels like we're back into that Rip City mode again, where you kind of feel it. Like, you can feel it from the fan base. I was texting with some friends after the game, and I convinced one of my good friends to buy the Blazer Vision, because he likes to watch a lot of NBA, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna buy it." And he was texting me after the game. He was all excited. He was like, "Yeah, it's time to buy tickets now." Like, so I feel like my biggest thing the first couple weeks of the season, and I mentioned this last week too, like, a lot of people felt like their first 9 or 10 games of the season was one of their tougher stretches of schedule.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the whole season is, it's tough. Like, the NBA schedule, you're going to have these long road trips, and there's going to be plenty of points where I'm sure they're going to have lows. But I'm just excited. Like, it feels like the mojo is back. I saw on the Blazers social media, they posted the picture of, fans leaving, chanting, "Let's go Blazers." And it's like, it's fun to be back in that mode where you can start to feel the excitement around the team and around the city.
Absolutely, Gliss. I could not agree more. It's so awesome. Even when I was at dinner last night, I was telling people like, the Blazers, I was like, the Blazers are down. And I was like, oh, they came back, like, it's just like, and everyone's just excited to talk about them and see them be successful again. So it's been super fun. And the energy in the city is just awesome when the Blazers are winning. So, and it's great that we're here to chat about it every day. I'm loving this. Absolutely. And also, Blazers, if anyone from the Blazers organization is listening, Jay Gliss is making you sales. He not only sold Blazer Vision, he's selling tickets. So maybe let's
get some commission.
Let's get in touch. Yeah, absolutely. Gliss the salesman. All right. Well, that has been another episode of Wake Up Rip City. The Blazers now go on the road for, let's see, how many games is this road trip, Gliss? Is it a 5-game road trip? They have the Heat on Saturday. That is a 5 p.m. tip. Then they take on the Magic, the Pelicans, the Rockets, and the Mavericks. So, yeah, a 5-game trip. Oh, man, those 2 Texas teams, too, although the Mavericks are struggling. But that's kind of how they finish the trip. They take on the Pelicans. Zion Williamson is out. I don't know if he'll be out for that game, but he's out currently with an injury. They said he'd be reevaluated in a week, so he might be out for that game. Of course, the Magic, always a tough team to play. And then the Heat are I don't know if you would say rivals, but, man, the Blazers Heat, at least the fan bases really hate each other. So after the whole Dame saga. So that's always exciting to see what that'll be like. But Blazers get a couple days off before they start this road trip. And again, they'll be in Miami on Saturday. A 5 p.m. tip Pacific time, 8 p.m. tip in Miami, which is kind of crazy. But seeing those 8 p.m. tips nowadays, I'm like, man, dude.
I love when they're on those East Coast trips, because I like getting some afternoon
early game. Absolutely. Yeah. 8 p.m. man, that's late. That's late, man. But yeah, luckily for us.
It's Miami.
Yeah, it doesn't affect us. It's Miami. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. We'll be back next week to recap some of this road trip. Please, you can follow us on Spotify, where we post all these episodes and the video, and then YouTube as well. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm more customizing the YouTube channel to be more about Wake Up Rip City now, Gliss. So I'm making some changes, so it'll be just about the podcast. Of course, we post all the videos there. Would love to hear some comments. Like the videos. Please subscribe. We're super excited to just be 2 fans talking Blazers basketball all the time. But all right, Gliss, we'll see you next week.
See ya.